Hello everybody, welcome back to Evolve. We're going to be playing as Goliath in this one, where I'm refueling tower against Emmett, Hank, Crow and Hyde for this one. It's a bit of a dark map, but we'll do Savage. Not done the Savage skin for quite a while, so, you know, we'll do everything except Rock Throw, and we will do Traversals as the perk of choice. This team is very good. Weakest link is actually Crow on this one, because Crow is just incorrect slowdown for Goliath. Goliath needs harpoons because stasis doesn't affect his leaps, so yeah. But the other side of the team, Hank, Emmett, very solid. Emmett's Hyde is decent all around as well on assault, so we'll see. We do have colonists in this one as well that are going to be providing supporting fire. That is a smell range in the background. I'm not going to be able to get that though because the colonists are right there. If you are new to this, welcome. It's a 4v1 ASIM. We're currently playing as a monster, and we are tasked at the beginning with going around the map. That's very rude. Thank you. And killing and eating wildlife, basically, is what you're seeing here. Once that little ring that keeps appearing on back fills up, we'll be able to evolve to the next stage, which is when the fighting will begin. Because stage 1 monsters are incentivized to run because you are very weak. Small amounts of damage, small amounts of HP, small amounts of armor. All the things that you don't want in a fight, so we stick to the shadows, we feed, and we grow. Just going to skirt around the edge at the beginning of this one. The game is not being very generous with wildlife. Oh, there we go. Good. Just to fill the air, as I say, because, you know, we're doing what we normally do here. 2015 game, this, by the way. Just in case you were wondering when it came out or where it's from, you know, because there's quite a lot of people now who, you know, just don't even know this game existed. Yeah, 2015 game, never got the life it deserved, unfortunately, because, you know, gamers did what gamers do on release and just attacked it because of its DLC prices. And I know that, you know, the DLC prices back in the day were quite extreme, but can't really take people seriously anymore when they go on about the DLC for this game and then look at the state of the industry now, you know. So it is what it is in that regard. We are going to evolve. Get 3 points to put into your abilities, you get bigger. Monster appearance changes. You know, just to directly summarise what I'm going on about here, you'll never see this in Dead by Daylight. This level of quality, animation, finesse, all that kind of stuff, you'll never see that ever again. While Dead by Daylight's at the top of the genre. It's not me hating on Dead by Daylight, it's a fact. You will never see this again. What you're about to see in a moment's time. I would really like to have grabbed that, to be honest. I thought I had time to do it. I'm going to get domed here as well, I think. Maybe not. Wow, okay. I actually thought I was going to get domed. I need to get some more armor though before we go in there. Do some of this. The rest of this, and then we'll get in there. But, you know, following on with that topic, go into it with an open mind, have a look at what video games could have been, you know. There's what you'll see here with animations and all that kind of stuff, voice lines, literally everything, you know. We do need to go for Hank here because his beam's a little bit too good to ignore. Now we go for Crow, because if we down Crow, this dome's going to drop that we're trapped in at the moment. Animations again. Give me them. Do I actually have... I think I do have time, yeah. Good. I'll grab these 3 corpses. Even the simple things do, like the shadows and everything. I don't even think there's actually any lighting in Dead by Daylight, actually. I'm not going on the comparison train here, I just don't think there is. There's no real moments. I think there's one corner of RPD where you can see character shadows. I can't remember, but as I say, it's just little things, dude. What this genre used to be. Just collectively discounted it because it had a shit business model. But we didn't actually assess that, you know, or actually think that the game itself was actually fucking peak in terms of animations and, you know, character design. And look what we ended up with, you know. I mean, look, shadow down there. This is just something I don't normally see, you know, in games these days. How far the render distances of it as well. We do get splash on the colonist. We do go for Hank again here, for the same reason. They try to orbit on me now, that's fine. Bollocks, that's fine. Good. We repeat the process here, I think, because we're going to be dropping armor pretty soon, so we'll go for Crow again. Let's me getting it on the thing. DOT, now he's in water. Because again, realism. Good. Quite hit that. Probably shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, I shouldn't be doing this, it's fine. I was going to try out the shields, going to burn too much time. Do get HP regen. I suppose we'll just take that. The only way monsters can actually regenerate outside of evolving. Which we are going to presently do in a moment's time. Just get onto this rock. There we are. So we're going to go stage 3 now. This is going to be the final evolution of the monster, where you become the power roll. Something else you'll see in a moment's time. Because, ladies and gentlemen, just to bring it to the classical gamers, you know, the boomers these days, like myself, you know, we were from an era where hand-holding didn't really exist in our PvP game, you know, so there's going to be a distinct lack of iframes and second chances here to, you know, destroy your half of the gameplay for the entitled player base that it's got, you know. So there's going to be no iframes, there's going to be no white characters, you know, characters turning full white whenever you hit them, all that kind of shit. There's none of that here. Usually the way this game works is monsters get to stage 3, which is what the hunters are actually, that's their objective, literally, is to stop you from getting to stage 3. So when you actually do get to stage 3, you're going to see what's going to happen here. They're going to be inside this building as well, so they're probably going to die very quickly here. Because we now do insane amounts of damage, and this is their consequence for playing bad in this instance. Now obviously it's bots, but it goes the same way if this was human players. They let me get to stage 3, you fucking punish it, you know, they lose for it. You know. As hunters, really, in this game, when the monster's at stage 2, you need to pick your fights wisely and consistently pressure it. Otherwise you'll end up with this situation. Go for the colonists. Looks like they have actually got HP regen as well. Did he just self-revive with his... I think. Shit, I didn't actually notice that gap. This one. 5 seconds, so they are going to get another wave though. Do get 2 strikes on Emmett though. I'm actually going to get out here because we're losing armour. In the same breath, you can beat stage 3s. Again, because this game was actually properly made and it was balanced, you know. It was balanced around player skill, is what we'll say, you know. So obviously the hunters slip up, you get to stage 3, this is your sort of victory lap kind of thing as the monster. But equally, if you play like shit as the monster at stage 3, you'll die, you know. Because it's a level playing field. Wildlife, by the way, it's killing each other. Because you have interactive wildlife as well. just pointing out a lot of things, you know, fellas, because you may be able to detect that, you know, I'm not exactly pleased with the top of the asym genre, and I'm not, to be fair, you know. It seems to be a sentiment that's shared with quite a few people, though. You just don't really get content creators saying it, because, you know, you have to be toxically positive these days. Everybody wants to smile and wave and all that kind of shit, you know. Nobody strives for better anymore. It's just, you know, accept this really shit PS2 port at the top of the fucking genre, and, you know, have done with it. And if you speak up about it, oh no, you're toxic, you know. Can't remember where I killed Hank there. I didn't kill him as well. So that's been all three of them just wiped there because they're stood inside against the stage 3. You don't want to fight stage 3s inside, so. There it is. Up it up. But it is what it is, fellas. As I say, I might sound like spiteful and all this kind of stuff if it is your first video. We don't always go on these rants, they just come up every now and then. But, you know, the general consensus and what you can probably read based on my commentary is that I just genuinely believe this is basically this genre fucking fell off. Quite honestly, when we decided to make Dead by Daylight the peak of it. When this existed, last year existed, you know, all asyms that, in terms of quality and the actual gameplay of them, have just been 110% better, you know. The reason why the Dead by Daylight player base complains about how it's getting stale and it's getting boring and all this kind of shit is because the entire fucking gameplay is running around in circles or holding M1 on a generator. You know, that's it. If you have something like Evolve or last year where it's actually about combat, you know, where it's like, you know, you're actually fighting each other, you know, you're playing around each other and all that kind of stuff. I need to drink. It's actually, you know, there's gameplay to it, you know. You're not sat there just holding M1 on generators or running around the same fucking loop 2 or 3 times before your opponent drops a pallet in front of you. Then you break that pallet, then you move to the next loop, and it's the same fucking thing over and over and over again, you know, for gameplay. You know, it's just, it is what it is. The only dynamic characters that we have at the top of this genre at the moment is this character can move forward slightly faster, you know, that's it. Here there's verticality. You can throw rocks, you can leap, you can breathe fire, you can fucking charge, you can shoot spiders out of yourself, you can split yourself in 2 and cloak your main body with Wraith, you can deploy a decoy, you can shoot yourself forward as Wraith and kidnap a fucking player, you know. That's her abduct ability. One of the most creative abilities in the game, where if you've got an isolated hunter, you can wait in bushes somewhere. Again, this only works against human players because obviously bots know where you are by 1s and 0s, but if you can literally jump scare people with it. You can wait around corners or wait in bushes on the edges of cliffs if you max the range on it, because this shit goes like literally half the map. You can do it at stage 3, the actual distance when you max rank it to tier 3. You can find a hunter as long as you can actually smell them, because you can actually go further than your smell range, and you can grab them. You'll hit them, and then she'll snake around them, grab them with her arms, and pull them back to where you were, which could be on the other side of the map, and you get an isolate, and that's your reward for making the prediction as well. Because again, this game actually rewards being good at it, you know. It's the general comparison I make, fellas, because in Dead by Daylight they don't do that anymore. Is something fresh off the presses, actually, because I didn't even know about this. This is the current state at the top of the asym genre, and in respects to the power role itself, right? Artist, right? Now, obviously, you know, if you play Dead by Daylight, you'll be like, artist, what's up with artist? You know, all this kind of shit. At the moment, the artist mains in that game, artist is a I'd probably say about a C tier, low B tier killer in terms of me, obviously. She recently received a Witcher skin, a Witcher collab skin, right? So obviously everybody's going to start playing her to play as this skin, okay? Since that's happened, there has now been nerfs to her add-ons, out of the fucking blue. Completely out of the blue. Nerfs, right? To this killer that's actually quite shit, right? So everybody who plays artist now is now saying, hang on a minute, why are you nerfing my killer and all this kind of shit. The very same thing happened to Alien, a licensed killer, a xenomorph, right? Where they basically tried to fucking assassinate the character, essentially, based on the grounds that she was overpowered and all that kind of stuff, because she had a slightly higher win rate than what they want. They want to try and force a 50-50 win rate. That's what they've been trying to do. But all they do is they basically just look at killers and nerf them. They don't look at the survivor side of things. They don't look at all the second chances they're getting. Basically what they do to try and force this 50-50 win rate is they give fucking survivors loads of power trip rolls and perks and all that kind of shit, like flashbangs, fucking blast mines on generators. These people, by nature of the game, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with this, are supposed to be the ones that are fucking scared of you, yeah? But they're all running out of the fucking darkness with speed axe every time you go to pick somebody up with flashbangs and fucking grenades now, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, obviously the speed axe of just jumping in your face for something that requires very minimal fucking skill. And I'll die on the hill when I say that. There's some people that say flashlight saves in that game require skill. No, they don't. They fucking don't, mate. As long as you actually understand, by virtue of the real fucking world, what a head of a living being is, you will be able to land a flashlight by shining the beam in its eyes. That's it. There's no skill involved in it, especially whenever the killer actually picks somebody up in that game. Now there's a perk called Background Player that gives you speed hacks, literally fucking speed hacks. You move at 200% faster speed for 15 seconds, I think it is actually. I can't remember what the duration is. Might be 15 or 5 seconds. Let's call it 5. But in that particular game, that's basically, on some maps you can cross map with speed hacks to get this flashlight save, right? That's fucking easy to do. Which is why, as the killer, when you got to pick somebody up as the power roll, you have to constantly worry about facing a fucking wall, because you're going to get jumped in front of it, and then your all chase and your down will get reversed. So there's all that shit to look out for. But that's what I'm saying. Here, there's nothing like that. Both sides in this game get fucked if they play bad. Just as I do on Monster. If I play shit at stage 3, if I throw my weight around too much and I get too fucking comfortable with how much damage I've got and all that kind of shit, I die. They'll kill me. But likewise, if they fight in a wrong place like that building, they get fucking wiped. You know? And these days, this is misconstrued as, oh, it's bad game balance. Oh, that's bad game balance, that. No, it's not. It's a lack of fucking skill. You know, this is what games used to be like back in the day, before they started fucking putting training wheels all over it, you know, and just decimated the fucking genre to the point now where the top of it is a fucking hand-holding simulator designed for Twitch. And that's what fucking annoys me, you know. We traded genuine greatness for fucking mediocrity at the end of the day, you know. And that's what I always point out. But it is what it is. I'm still getting people coming to me comments these days, and you know, whenever anything gets a bit of traction here, it's like there's still people that cling to it. You know, it's like, oh, nobody played this game at launch because it had shit microtransactions and all this kind of shit. People that just couldn't grasp the concept of fucking buying their own content decided to shut the game down. You know, like I know, like 20 quid for a character, that's quite a lot, but you actually got fucking. You know, especially at the time as well, 2015, it looked really good, this game, back in 2015, but it still looks good now. But back in the day, like, you were getting your fucking money's worth in terms of the actual effort that was put into the characters and the actual gameplay of the game. Because I'm telling you now, mate, I wouldn't pay fucking 20 quid for a game these days, mate, most of the times. I've got very little fucking games, modern games in my Steam library, because I don't buy anything anymore, because it's all fucking dog shit. But everybody would look at a game like this based on its history and choose the modern game over this. You know, the modern game these days, which is basically a fucking cookie cutter alpha phase simulator shit that they've literally surgically removed 90% of the content to actually, you know, resell to you, which is what this game was accused of, but it was far less than what they do these days in terms of that shit. But it is what it is, as I say, that's just the new age gamer, innit? But it is what it is at the end of the day. We fucking lost greatness here, and I'll always be this way. So, you know, it is what it is. For the 4th time in that sentence. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the gameplay anyway, those of you that can see what an actual decent video game is. And, you know, we're going to keep playing, you know, in the vain hope that 2K actually discovers one day that they're actually sitting on a cash cow. Because if they actually did assign a team back to it and they started making monsters and all that kind of shit, you know, at the same level of quality and all that kind of stuff, they just disregarded the Stage 2 version, just let that fucking shit burn in hell, and revert it back to legacy, back to how it used to be, get the same fucking animators and all that kind of stuff into the game, the people that were actually really good at their actual job, you know, all that kind of stuff. They've got a fucking goldmine as far as I'm concerned, because I do think people would play this if you basically relaunched it. Get some marketing done. Don't just put a load of fucking keys in a Discord server and then, you know, when they all get scalped as they would in a public Discord server, scratch your head and then think it's actually the game's issue when it's not. That's just blatant shit fucking publishing, or marketing, I should say. In that instance, you know, the general consensus of where we are at the point in time in this game is we've got a publisher that can't actually understand that you need to have your game publicly available for sale for it to get any kind of fucking traction, and they can't seem to grasp the concept of this because it's still not listed on the Steam store. There are people in every single video that I post of this game asking me, where can I play this game? How can I get this game? How can I buy this game? How can I buy the other monsters for this game for the people that just have the base game from when they first got it? You know, can I still get my DLC? People want to buy your product. People want to spend money on your fucking product, but they can't because you have delisted it. Yeah? That's the issue. Not the game. It's the fact that the fucking game isn't listed on the Steam store. That's the issue. That's all it is. It is because it is not listed on the Steam store. Roll the clocks back 2 years, fellas, to the time when we had 2,500 fucking people playing this game. When the game wasn't listed on the Steam store. That was 2,500 people collectively who had this game, they bought it back in the day, who came back to play it, and we did fuck all. Fuck all. Literally. We waited about fucking 2 months, sent a bunch of keys into the Discord server, they all got scalped, we scratched our heads over that. Oh, how could that happen? And then we twisted it into it being the game issue. When you've got 2,500 people playing a game that isn't fucking publicly available for purchase. Yeah. And apparently that's a game issue, you know. Putting a bunch of keys into a public Discord server so they all get scalped. And then that's the game issue. Rather than, oh, there's 2,500 people playing our product. Let's relist it on the Steam store and raise those numbers even more. What's the confusion? Why is that a difficult choice to make? You know, why basically choose, let's put a bunch of keys into a Discord server and not revive the game because they all get scalped, or we can relist it and revive the game without having to actually spend money on developing a new IP, because you can just literally get this one back, you know. Oh nah, just throw the keys into the Discord server, there you go. That's totally the right decision. Anyway, I'm going on. It's fucking baffling. It really is. I'm sat here as a consumer with more fucking common sense than this publisher. But it is what it is, fellas, at the end of the day. It was a very, very... For about 2 months, it was a very clear shot at this game getting revived. And it had fuck all to do with the game. The way this went down. Fuck all. Nothing. The only way it had anything to do with the game was the slight balance issues. Well, I say slight balance issues. The fucking tidal wave of balance issues that the Stage 2 version brought, because that's what happens when you sprinkle the game full of perks, because we didn't learn anything from Dead by Daylight. The actual game itself, Legacy, is actually balanced. So, re-roll it back to Legacy, and then just relaunch it. That's it. That's literally it. Put the Legacy edition of Evolve onto the Steam store. Bang. There it is. See how it does for a couple of weeks, and then make a fucking informed decision, you know? It needs to be free to play though as well. It needs to be free to play this game. And that's actually how it would compete with Dead by Daylight as well. If it was to get a bit of traction, you'd make this free to play, because Dead by Daylight isn't free to play. You make this one free to play, you keep the quality bar as it is, and all that kind of stuff. I know it's hard for a company to hear that, because obviously, you know, you're making the game free to play, so you can't make your fucking moolah there, you know. But this is what I always talk about, where if you put effort into making content, people will buy it, yeah, and then you will get more money that way. Quality gives you money, yeah. The fact that the gaming industry as a whole, for the most part, you know, in a lot of situations anyway, when all these big titles come out and they're on their asses 2 weeks after release, because you're basically just releasing a fucking alpha to everybody on, you know, everybody in public and touting it with some big massive CGI trailer, you know, state sponsored and all this kind of shit. You know, the government's give you money to make this big fucking CGI trailer for something that's, you know, an in-dev project, and then you scratch your head and wonder why nobody's buying it, you know. Like, we've been doing this shit for years now, and we're just not fucking learning that you need to actually make a product before you actually sell it to the public, you know. And I know I'm not a game developer, so, you know, it's rich coming from me, because I know there are probably complications that come within companies. I'm not having a go at, like, actual physical game developers. I'm having a go at the actual companies themselves and the people at the top of the companies, you know, that dictate over the decisions that are being made, because they're fucking clueless, from what I've seen, based on all this. That's been consistently happening for years in the gaming industry now. I've said it in the past, like probably around the time 2015, 2016 with Evolve. Evolve was probably one of the last high quality games in terms of PvP like this that there was. There's stuff like Overwatch, but it still feels dry in comparison. I'm talking about uniqueness with this game. How fast paced it is, how the verticality of it and all that kind of stuff, you know. But it is what it is anyway. There's one of my rants. It's a Sunday night. It's built up over the weekend. It is what it is. Right, I hope you've enjoyed the gameplay. It was probably a fraction of the length of that, but you know, it is what it is. See you on the next one.